Hello everyone, I'm here today with a new flip through video, and I have to say I recently had surgery, and this is the first day where I have felt like I can stand up for a significant amount of time and actually feel decent. So yay, that's good. And so I figured, well, why not show you a flip through that I completed while I was my first couple of days post surgery. I really couldn't do much. So I had gathered a bunch of scrapping stuff beforehand that I knew I'd be able to like just do in bed or on the couch. And I ended up actually finishing my whole first trip to Chicago this year. And if you remember, I said I was going to do a combined album this year because I know I'm going to be in Chicago at least 3 times, and now it looks like maybe 4 times. That one in August is kind of up in the air. We'll see, but it might be 4. And I don't want to have an album for each, so I'm combining them. And originally, I said I was probably going to use this album. But when I looked at it, this is one from scrapbook.com. When I looked at it, the rings are fairly small compared to the one that I have here that is from Citrus Swiss. Look how much bigger the rings are. Oops, sorry, there you go. A lot more space. So if I'm going to try to fit 3, potentially 4 trips in here, this is probably the way to go. And I do think the color fits quite nicely. So I decided to go with this 6x8. Okay, so let's take a look at my layouts here. And I do have a mix because this album holds up to 6x8. I have a mix of 3x8, 4x8, and 6x8. So far, I do not have any flip outs. So no page protectors that are bigger that would require me to fold in and out, but I do have some photo flips, so you will see those in just a minute. But this is my opening page. I decided to go with a 4x8. I had this piece of paper. This is an old one from Kelly Perky / Paper Person. I don't remember exactly when I got it, if it was before the name change or not, but I had this and it was just sitting around, so I thought, all right, I'm going to use it. So I used some of my Chicago stamps. I've used a lot here. And I did the skyline there, added just some little embellishments. These are both acrylic pieces from, I think they're both from Color Cast Designs. And then I have another set where I have all the states. And so I thought, oh, I can do Chicago and then actually do the state here. How often am I going to be able to stamp that otherwise? It's kind of it. For this album, I've already been to Springfield. So unless I go to Chicago, I'm probably not using Illinois too much. So I used it here. On the back side, I kept it very simple. I just used a card that took up the whole slot and then added this label and again stamped Chicago with a different stamp. And since I have 2 full sets, or do I have 3? 2 for sure. I might even have a 3rd that are all about Chicago. Why not use them? I'm there enough. So get some use out of those stamps. And then here, this was just a little display that was inside the train station here in Minneapolis, St. Paul. I don't know if it was for something specific. I had never seen it before, and I'm in there fairly frequently. So they must have had an event or something, but I thought the colors were so pretty, and I was able to see it the day that I left. So I took a picture of that, and then I just tried to find a card that incorporated some of those colors so that at least it would match. Because I do this train route a lot, I don't feel like I need to take a ton of photos on the train or looking out from the train every time I go, because those views don't really change unless it's differing seasons. So I just did 2 here. I liked this one because it was kind of dreary. This was late April, and it was kind of dreary. You can see it was very gray. The leaves hadn't budded out yet or anything, at least not along the river here. But I liked that there was somebody who decided it was a good day to go out fishing. So I was able to get that right out the train window. And then same with the station there. I love Union Station in Chicago. It's gorgeous. But how many pictures do I need of it, really? So I decided a 3x8 is enough here. I just wanted this one because they had it all lit up in blue. And it was just so pretty. And because I came in the evening, it showed up even better, which is awesome. So I just used the one photo. I used this card to just write a little blurb and then stuck an acrylic piece on there, which was super easy. Over here, I have another 3x8 happening, but this one does have the flip out. Photo flip. It has a photo flip. So there you can see the date, just some basic wording about how I love Chicago at night. I don't get tired of it. And then again, I kept it very simple. I just put this little piece of ephemera on the bottom one and called it good. Also over here, very, very simple. This was a vellum card that I got recently in the Allie Edwards travel kit. I chose to get the main kit this year. Some years, like, it's very outdoorsy, which is fine if you want that, but I don't have a lot of those photos. That's not really how I vacation anymore. And so something geared towards city or that's nondescript is better. And this one turned out to be a really good option. So I put that in there. Didn't have to do anything with it. And then here I had a picture of me in my room once I got settled, and I just stamped time away and kept it very simple. For as many times as I have been to Chicago, I have never been to Stan's Donuts. And I knew it was kind of on my route that I wanted to do the next morning. So I thought, okay, you know, I'm gonna do all the art murals. I will start at Stan's, get some coffee and some donuts, and then head out on my way. So I have quite a few photos from there because it's really cute inside. If you've never been there, you should do it when you're in Chicago. So here I have a photo flip happening. So there you can see this. I loved the tile floor in there, and I just added a little tag and a foiled sticker on there because these are quite busy. I don't need to add a bunch of stuff. And then this I've had this card for a long time and wasn't sure how I would use it. It's kind of a bright color and you sort of need something specific to match it with, and here it worked because I had so much pink happening. And this one I decided to actually just take the full wrapper that I got with my donuts and put it in here. So I just punched the holes. I'm a little worried about how much this is going to get turned and if it's going to make those rip or not. So I may reinforce it eventually, but for now I'm just leaving it as is. So this is the back side. It tells the story of how they started, and then it felt plain to me and I had an extra photo. So I thought, all right, I'll just cut down my lemon pistachio donut and put a picture of that there to liven it up. So I'm happy with that. And then over here, just some more photos from inside. Again, I used the other half of the label that I used over here. That one, the brown matches. So I just thought, well, why not use the other half if I have it? Another foiled sticker. And then these are all from the same set. All the stickers I used here are from the same set by Pipsticks. So if you like those, that's where you find them. After that, it was off into the city to find the murals. So I just have some generic city pictures first, which I always love. You can see the Sears Tower there and just the L track going above me. This was actually from a 12 by 12 strip, like a border strip that I had. I'll never use that because I don't scrap 12 by 12. So I thought, all right, I'll cut a piece down to 3 and just use it as a little bit of a skyline. And I'm really happy with the way that that came out. And it livened up the journal card because otherwise, honestly, it was kind of boring. There's nothing at the bottom and I didn't need all 3 spaces, so it worked out well for me to do it this way instead. And then over here, I wanted to have a map of at least part of the mural corridor, so I have that on there. Did a quick puffy sticker, and then I have a bunch of embellishments that are very pink themed from a set that I've had a long time, and I don't tend to normally use a lot of pink, so this was a great opportunity to use up some of those things. So with all of my mural photos, I didn't want to use a lot of embellishments because they are so busy. All of these pictures, very different styles, tons of different colors. It would just be overwhelming. So I tried to keep it as simple as possible. So here I just picked a card that had a lot of similar colors, dropped that in, did an acrylic geotag here, and I loved that it actually had a star in the middle instead of just a little dot. So a little bit more visually interesting. And then over here I had a lot of purple in these photos, so I tried to find a hue of purple. This is more periwinkle, but I think it's still okay. Did a star since I had that over here. I mean, these aren't meant to match, but if I can use elements that work together, great. So that's what I chose to do. And then over here, again, these were all very, very busy. So did a card where I didn't have to write anything and it was just a simple phrase. And then keeping with the star theme again, I just picked ones that matched some of this. And so I thought these stars match pretty well with this background and over here. So I used those. This layout was super fun to put together because I just happened to have the perfect embellishments for it, given the designs in here, kind of the wheels and then the fan look. These all come from Hip Kit. I haven't ordered from them in a long time, but they brought out a travel set for 1 month and I thought, okay, I will give in and I will buy just that month to get all that stuff. So it was super easy to put this together because it came with all of these on it. So all I had to do is really match the colors, and then I chose to just do some small stamping here with a very simple phrase, and that's it. Over here, I was kind of getting to the end of the murals, and so I wanted to have kind of a nice set here with at least 2 photos, and I like having a bigger 4x6 card sometimes. You don't see it that often, so I feel like it breaks up everything nicely. So I inserted one here that I have, and then I did do a little bit of pink ink splattering, and it is metallic, so not sure if the camera picks that up, but it is a little bit shiny, which is nice. And then over here, I did this last one, and I loved it because it had an L car on it as part of the mural. Very, very Chicago. So I thought, well, I have to use that. But again, I didn't need like a full 6x8 page for that, so I chose to do a 4x8. I found this insert that I had, which worked great. I just filled in what was applicable. I put on a tiny little scrap of paper and called it good. When I was done with the murals, I had booked a tour to go into the Fine Arts Building in Chicago. I've passed it many times on Michigan Avenue, but I've never been in it. I didn't even realize you could take a tour until this time, and I booked it like the night before. I was like, oh, what could I do tomorrow? I have some extra time, and so that came up, and I'm so glad I did it. I highly recommend that you do it if you're in Chicago and you like architecture and just something that's not the typical stuff to do in Chicago. You would really enjoy this, I think. But here's the back side where I just did a picture of the front, and you can actually see it says Fine Arts Building. And I stamped this in the middle. And this entry was so gorgeous, I had to blow it up to a 6x8. So that made it very simple to do the layout because all I needed was the big photo, and then I stamped this. I have a museum set of stamps, so this was perfect, and it kind of goes with the fancy architecture. So I stamped that. Just put this larger phrase across and left it alone. And I think that's perfect. I don't think it needs anything else. Here are a bunch of photos from inside the building. I had so many that I knew I couldn't do just a ton of layouts, so I decided to do a collage over here. So that's what I have happening on this side. So I have my ticket, my screenshot of when I booked it, and I love it because it says the date and time right on it, which is awesome. And then I just have 2 little embellishments, little stamping. That's it. And then this side, I actually have a 3x8 insert. And I just wanted something here that matched these. And I thought this was appropriate because you're going up different flights of stairs to different floors. So I thought the numbering there worked well. So these photos here are from one of the upper floors. And the art inside there was just stunning. And I wanted to include that. And then there's a skylight. And it was coming in quite nicely. Even though the day was kind of overcast at that point, it was coming in nicely enough that it was adding some extra light, which really helped the photos. So I wanted to make sure that I included those. This was just a phrase on the card. I didn't have to do anything, which was awesome. And I think that's an Allie Edwards one too, actually, come to think of it. And then over here, I did make this one. I just took the background, added this little piece of ephemera, stamped, little sticker, circled that it was a Sunday, and that's all it took. Inside the building, I actually saw that there was a small private art gallery, and so I went in, took some photos, actually met the artist and talked to her a little bit, which was great. So I wanted to showcase that, but also kept it simple because, I mean, look at that. It was very busy in there. And then when I was done there, I had to hop on the train to get up to the River North area because I wanted to see the water tower buildings, and then I wanted to do something fun as an extra that you're going to see in just a minute. But I loved these tulips. They were just blooming, and it was gorgeous. So I wanted to include those. And then here I am on the train. So I got pictures of the L because that is quintessential Chicago. So this was a super fun thing. If any of you watch The Bear on Hulu or FX, it's one of my favorite shows on television. I don't watch a ton. I'm very careful about what I choose to watch. And this is one thing that I'm like super invested in. And at the time I'm doing this, season 3 has dropped. I have watched it all. It was fantastic. But prior to that, this was April, when I was in Chicago, I'm like, I want to go to the building they used actually to film. And the name of the business was Mr. Beef. So I thought I can get over there. It's not that hard. So I was able to find it. I went over there and got some photos outside. And then I included a photo off the internet of Carmi and Sid, the 2 main chefs in the show working in the restaurant. So I wanted to include that as well. And then I have my water tower photos here. I had never been there. Again, you would think with how many times I've been in Chicago, I would have gone up there and seen this, but no, just never took the time. So since I had it on this day, I decided to go, and I used minimal embellishments. I just have a little ephemera there. I did do some ink splattering here with some metallic brown ink to kind of match the doors, and this darker hue here. And then on this one, I had a full 6x8 photo, and originally my intention was to just use that as its own background, not do anything else. But I felt like it blended in too much, so I did choose to cut it down just a hair, and then I mounted it on 6x8 white cardstock, and I think that was the right choice. And here we are at the last two layouts. This was coming on my way back. I was walking over the river to get to the train station. So you can see my views there over the bridge. And then I stamped a different skyline of Chicago that I have. Did some black metallic ink splattering just to liven up the background a little bit. And then over here, I like these split photo or page protectors. It makes it visually interesting to have a different configuration than what you normally expect to see. So I was able to create a 3x8 layout for this side, which I did. Just some foil stickers and ephemera. And then on this side, just two standard 3x4 photos. Stamped this, taking the train, put it on there, and that's it. So I mean, this is like nothing super detailed or anything, but that's how I want it because I know I'm going to have to fit another 2 to 3 trips in here. So this is perfect for me. And then I have a bunch of extra page protectors in there because I just did my second trip to Chicago at the end of June, and that one may come up quickly again since I was able to do this in just a matter of like 2.5 days. I'm hoping the other trip will go as quickly, but we'll see. But thanks for watching this part 1 flip through of Chicago 2024. Thanks for watching.